This video is about the mechanics of 4095. 4095 is 24 factors, which can be put into 12 pairs. And the unique thing is how perfectly it works out. This, I believe, is the first number to be divisible by 3, 5, 7, 9, and 13. Hang on, so 5 times 7 is 35. Times 9 is, as we all know, it's 315. Times 13, yeah, it is. And this video is going to see how exactly it works out. So for 3 goes with the number 1,365. 1,365 also has a lot of factors. The reason why is because we only have to suck a couple of numbers out, and the numbers we suck out are the numbers that are divisible by 9. But if it's divisible by 3, we don't necessarily suck it out. So we suck 9 out, we suck 45 out, we suck 315 out, we suck 63 out. And I'm really not sure about what else we suck out. Yes, 819 gets sucked out. I think that's it. And if you're wondering how 4095 is such a good number in mathematics, before we get to the real reason, there's actually going to be another hint. I guess you could say 585 gets sucked out. I'm not sure how much gets sucked out. I guess really anything that has to do with a 9. Just don't have a great place to split it up. No, I really don't want to do 455 and 3. I hope it'll be like 65 and 21. That would actually, okay, so yeah, it would have 16 factors. 65 and 21, I believe, both have 4. And they don't have any in common, so it would be 16. Cause it kind of makes sense that there will be 8 numbers you suck out. Anyway, so 1365 and 3. Hang on, this doesn't make sense now though. Because now I've answered the problem where, but they're common factors. Okay, I see. Okay. So that means that 1365 is 16 factors, which is a lot on its own. And then once you put all the factors, you have 9 in itself. So 3 and 1365 make this number. So because 1365 minus 1 is 1364, 1364 divided by 4 is 341. So because of that, we already know from the get-go that 4095 plus 1 divided by 8 has to be a whole number x. But I'm not going to give away any more clues that could potentially reveal this. At first glance, you would think 4, but then when you notice it, that is odd. So it's kind of obvious it's 8. Again, this isn't like the absolute determinator, but it's very important for us to crack this clue. What about 5? 5 and 819 go together. Now 5 and 819 don't have any common factors, and because 5 is 2, 1 and 5, 819 has 12 from the get-go. This makes sense. There are now a lot more numbers that we have to suck out, because we have to suck out 45, but we also have to suck out 15. We have to suck out 585, but we also have to suck out 195. There are a lot more numbers that we now have to suck out. about number 7? If you suck out 7. So 585, the number that you get now, is now also equivalent to, it also has 12 factors. So you might have the get-go, like you might already know that like 585, 819, 1365, they already have a lot of common factors, and they do. Because 585 and 1365, I believe, would be 195. Yeah, they both share 195. 1365 divided by 195 is 7. That would make sense. 7. Yes, it would make sense. Yeah, it definitely makes sense at 7. But 819 doesn't share that in common. It doesn't share that in common with the others. Because it's not divisible by 5. So you can't have 195 now. You have to divide that by 5 and you get 39, which would be a factor as well. Also, yeah, I mean, you do have to suck out the 117, but yeah, I mean, so their GCF is 39. Because 1365 also is divisible by 9. So it's kind of like that thing where essentially you have to you have like multiple different GCF. So 585 and 819, that would be, what would that be? That would be 117. 585 and 1365 would be 195. And 819 and 1365, that would actually be 13. No, 39. The other two that don't share any in common don't actually share any in common. However, both 117 and 195 are multiple to 39. 39 is a factor of both numbers. So that's how you get the answer 39. So you might already get the sense that these numbers are already pretty massive, and we're just adding small proportions back into those numbers. So these are already numbers with tons and tons of fractions. It's just that they go from being math. It's just that like when we add those numbers back, they're not going to grow too much. 585 and 7, we can also prove that 4095 is even better than we've already proved, because 585 minus 1 is 584. 584 divided by 8 is 73, which is an odd number. And because 7 plus 1 equals 8, and 8 divided by 8 is 1, although we're not going to go into that. It's kind of like saying that 3 plus 1 equals 4, and 4 divided by 4 is 1. And because of that, we've now proved it to be 4095 minus 1, 4095 plus 1 over 16 is equal to x, and x is a whole number. So essentially our estimates of it are getting better and better and better. I mean, I guess you could technically do 4 and 8, but it's kind of obvious. After that, it does require some mathematical competence, though, so I wouldn't go too far past that, because it does require mathematical competence. Next number, Andrew. Okay, our next number is 9 and 455. So 455 and 9 have no factors in common, but 9 actually has 3 factors, because it's 3 squared. So when you square a prime number, that number will have 3 factors. So at that point, we're leveling up. we are getting bigger, better numbers. And obviously by getting bigger, better numbers, 455 only has 8 factors by this point, which, I mean, I guess makes sense from the get-go, because if you think about it, 1365, 3, if you take that out, you're removing half the factors and you get 455. So I mean, I guess it makes sense from the beginning why I would have that. But the next number is 13, because it only has 2. When you kind of, I guess, get rid of the 13 from the equation, you get not 273. Not 273. You don't get 273. Really sounds like an applicable answer. Yeah, 315, that makes sense. So that would have 12 factors. I mean, I know it's getting weirder, because you just had a number that had only 8, but but this has 12. 315 has 12. This actually makes sense for another reason. 5 times 7 is 35, which has 4 factors, because 1 and 35 are factors, and 5 and 7. We already told me 9 is 3, and because 35 and 9 have no factors in common, this has 12. Because the numbers, because we have to suck the 13 out of literally half of the numbers. But what about if we suck out a 15? Sucking out a 15 is more dangerous, but we have to find out all the factors. This is actually more dangerous though, and I think that 13, it's the last prime number. So if you factor it all the way down, you could get it. And realistically also, you could find out that 4,095 plus 1 divided by 64 is a whole number based off the evidence that I have. And the sole and only reason why how you could find that is essentially, if you look at array 64, 9's best number is 7, and 7's best number is 9. But this repeats for every 64. So x plus 7, so 64x plus 7 is always going to be the best number for 9. 64x plus 9 is always going to be the best number for 7. So because 455 minus 7 is 448, which is 64 times 7, and because 585 minus 9 is equivalent to 576, which is 64 times 9, you're at this point literally guaranteed to get it. And for that reason, that's how we already know. But I don't know if you'll like that. If you really like that, and I might be giving away too much. So if you're confused, pretend you never heard that, and you won't DQ it as easily. So 15 though. 15 is a good sign, because if you remove this, you get 273. Here's the problem though. 15 and 273 have conflicting factors. So we actually have to DQ 273 another way. 91 times 3. So because 91 has 4 factors and 4? And 270 and 3 has 2 factors, 1 and 3. Because of that, we know that this actually has 8 factors. 273 has 8 factors. But because 15 and 273 but because 15 and 273, 15 is 1 less than a 16. 273 is 1 more than a 16, because 272 divided by 16 is 17. So for that reason, now we actually know we have another key number, and now we know it must be less than 32. 4,095 plus 1 divided by 32 must be a whole number x. But we already have evidence that supports that to 64, And if a number is divisible by 64, it's also divisible by 32. 448 divided by 32 equals 14. So that's not good enough evidence. But there's even more evidence that we could circulate because of the fact that 15 times 17 is 255, which if you add 1 is 256. So that means that, and 256 is actually a really high number in the mathematical hierarchy. It's super important. You can't really know that if you want to follow along with some of the concepts in the video. Although you'll already have to know that knowledge. And I think that my sound is working great finally. It's just that, I don't know, my vote videos tend to be the best viewing ones. But I hope vidIQ gives my channel a shout out. And I hope my sound's still working. I mean, I may occasionally listen to it, see if it's doing good. I mean, obviously the music can't play in some videos due to copyright issues. Not that it necessarily sounds bad, and the fact that some of the things around it, like that's also why you might have trouble hearing me. It's not like clear volley of air, despite like previously being super good. So I mean, my videos are literally just gonna be you staring at it. Maybe I'll make it more interesting, but if you think about it, the same theory I applied last time applies here as well. So because 273 minus 17 is 256, and 256 is 256 is divided by 256 is 1, and 256 is a very important number. It's a very high up number, higher than 64. We can determine that not only is the below number just a 16 or 32, we can actually deduce from that information that it has to be as high as 256. But anyway, the next number we can suck out is a 21. So you're probably thinking, well, Andrew, is 4,096 divided by 256, is that an odd number? Oh, well, find out later. But 21, the next one, we don't get great evidence because 21, if you circulate that out of the system, you get 195. And this is also the first number where I know it sounds interesting, I know it sounds confusing, but it's the first number where I've been on an interstate highway of that number. If you're wondering what that means that I've been on Interstate 195, but I haven't been on any other interstates of anything previous in the video, auxiliary or not. The one I've been on is an auxiliary of I-95, and I've been on it from I-95 to the exit for Six Flags, which is why so many people have been on I-195. Interstate 195 actually goes across and New Jersey, and is the boundary between central New Jersey and southern New Jersey. And I'd say the northern boundary is Interstate 78, but in any case, the next number that we can really give a good suck out of this number is, I believe, 35. I know that sounds weird, but now I have to get to more compact numbers. Also, if you're wondering how many factors 195 has, it's confusing, but because it's 65 times 3, neither of them have shared factors, it's 8. Because 65 is 4 and 3 has 2. It's gonna be kind of rare though, at least here, to get a number less than 8. Like, I mean, I'm just pointing that out. It's gonna be kind of rare for us to get a number less than 8 for a while. It's not until we have like 2 prime numbers that make it up, and we're gonna have 6 on the other side. So we could just do it on that way. And I know it's confusing. Suck it up. But 21 has 4 factors, and so it's 35. 35 is 4 as well. And this time we actually don't need. We could actually do it the same way, because if we suck out a 35, we get 165? No, we wouldn't get 165. We'd get, oh my god. You might be wondering, 35 and 36, do they go in at this point? Unfortunately not. They do go in at a number below that, 1,260, but that's clearly not a factor of this of 4,095. But that's the quickest that they go in. It's just at 36. It might sound like it's enough. It would go in just because it anyway, so as for Anyway, so as for 35 and 36, but like it goes 1260. But I mean, after that, I mean 4,095 and 1260. I mean, I think that it would be 4,095 times 4. That would be 65. No. It would be, I think 16,380. That seems to make sense to me. It does. It does. 16,380. But at that point, you have an entire 4 factor to factor in. So I believe, but I'm not entirely sure, that would have 72 factors. In any case, let's move on. In any case, 35's match is, and yes, they're all odd numbers. I get it. All odd numbers. You don't have to keep telling me. The next number, the number that pairs up with 35 is, so the 5 numbers, 819. Get a 7 out of that would be 120, I think 117, that makes sense. 117. And these ones don't actually have any in common. And now it actually, you do get to the point where 35 is 4. This number only has 6. This is our first number with only 6 factors, 117. And it's not because it's a square. It's not because it's a square number. But it's because, like, there has to be a square that goes into it, right? Obviously. And this actually is an instance of that. A square going into the number. Because 117 divided by 9 is really just 13. Like we're getting to the tail ends, but I have 45, which has 6 factors and is our first number to have that. What's on the other side of 45? It's 91. I realized that it was around saying 245 text, but it wasn't. I'm not going to send it because I'm not ditching a video. 3 o'clock, I'll do it. I'll just do it at 3 o'clock. Anyway, so what about 91? Well, this is actually the second interstate highway I've been on. One of these. I haven't been on interstate 45, but I have it on Interstate 91. Actually, the part from the southern terminus to the intersection of Interstate 291. I believe that's in Springfield, Massachusetts. I was actually supposed to go to Springfield on one of my camp trips, but that got canceled like everything else. Like, although the MLB, I think that they were, I'm not sure, but I think that they were able to come to an agreement of a 60-game season beginning on July 1st. Which is good, because of the NBA chance of having it go down and down and down as Florida cases go up and up and up. It would be nice to not have to follow the NHL, because very few people like hockey. I watch baseball, I guess. Not really, but I guess I do. I guess I like to follow the statistics of it, but anyway. As for the next number, we're at the tail end, and our last number would be 63 and 65. Now this is important because they're both on opposite sides of a 64. At first, I could just make the argument that it would be 128, but we already have 128 in place, and oh, this is much, much, much more than that. This proves that's one less than the number 4096, because that's 2 to the 12th power, making it such a good number. 63 has 6 factors, 65 has 4. And for that reason, but wait a minute, you thought there are numbers that you really thought would be in here. And I said the biggest one that you thought would be like 11. You know, like we'd have a 55, we have an 11. No, because the nearest 11 is actually, I believe, 4092. Actually, it is. Actually, it is, because 4092 divided by 4 is 1023, which, while the factors are definitely a lot more boring, yeah, it comes down really to just 31 and 33. So that while there aren't as many factors, by far, I think they only have 6. 3 pairs. You can. Actually, no, it has 8 factors, 4 pairs. So you can either do the most boring one, 1 to 1023, which is like 1 to 1025. You can pair 3 to 341. You can compare 11 to 93. Or you could compare 31 to 33. You can't really do that much else. Although, I will say, I have been on Interstate 93 to, I believe, apart from the 2 I-95 intersections. So, I get a little bit of bonus points. Oh, even when you don't know what I've been on those interstate highways. It's like just creeping up on you. Like, you know I've been on those interstates. And I've been on Interstate 65 as well. So, bonus points. Okay, I'll stop. Andrew, what interstate would you consider the boundary between the two halves of the United States? Oof, definitely not like 49. I mean, 49's close. It's a little bit over the halfway mark, though. 35. So Mississippi was on the 2/3 mark, and considering it crosses the Mississippi, I mean, Loretto, Texas is a little bit actually less than halfway. It's around. It's a little under. It's a little less than halfway. But I will definitely say Duluth, Minnesota is more than halfway across the nation. But so I guess in the south it could go up. I guess either interstate don't know how it will go up. Anyway, so as for 65 is definitely not the 2/3 mark though. Like definitely not. 75 is also not really the 3. I mean, I guess that there are parts of it that are the 3/4. That's a 3/4 mark. Like maybe not so much on Interstate 80, but definitely Interstate 90. I could see it being maybe even a little bit less than the 3/4 mark, although 65 still wouldn't really work. But I mean, I guess. But anyway, so 4,092 would be the closest 11 on that side, and on the other side is 4,103, because on one side it's 11 times 342. No, that it wouldn't. It'll be 93 times 376. 372, so 373. And that makes sense. It's 4,104. It makes sense how they cooperate so well, because 4,104 is divisible by 8. And you know what you get? You get a very gnarly number, which I believe comes down to 513. Okay.